All
So
right, Steve, I'm going to go ahead and start the
yeah,
FlexiCal. Let me
go
try and
for it.
keep close to the schedule, okay?
Good deal.
All right.
Go.
So I'm gonna take you to the Flexibits website. Can you guys see that website?
Yes.
Okay. And let me talk a moment or two about it here. I've been using Fantastical, and now they've got Fantastical 2, which has been out for about a year and a half or so. I've been using this for about 3-4 years, I guess, just about the time it came out. Do you need this? No. What it is it's a shortcut. It uses the existing calendar, the existing Mac calendar as its database, but it gives you a much speedier, user-friendly, much more intuitive way of getting there. Let's go into that page, and I'm going to play this video. Hopefully, it'll play the sound. We'll find out here. It's about a minute or so long.
Remind me to bring bathing suit.
Okay. That's just a quick little video. I know we had some audio problems here. Let me see if I can get
Great.
you back there.
Greg, excuse me 1 second. I'm going to mute myself in case because there's music on around here at the mall and
Okay.
stuff.
I think
So
I'm just going to mute everybody while I'm talking, and just unmute if you need anything. Okay. Just manually unmute yourself if you need to ask a question here. So let me go back to share a screen here, and we'll go back to desktop. Okay, so as you can see, you've got the option with Fantastical. You can see it's right here. It's up here in my menu. This can also be in the dock. You have a choice. That's the regular calendar, and I'll explain why I use that occasionally. You have a choice when you use FlexiCal to use it strictly as a desktop icon, use it as a dock item, or use it with the shortcut command keys. So I'll give you an example of how this works. Its big claim to fame is it's a shortcut into the calendar utility. So obviously right off the bat, I can see forward or backwards. I can scroll through the months if I want to. I can change the size. I can make this wider if I want to, or make it narrower depending on how I'm doing this. You can see it's attached right now, but I can break this loose if I want to and leave it to be freestanding here. If I get it back up there, it'll reconnect itself. Otherwise, it stays connected all the time. So here's where its big claim to fame is, I think, is let's say as an example, I want to put down let's go back to November here. I want to put down future meetings that we're having. So I can come up here and I can start. This reads what you're typing and populates the fields in the calendar. So I can say OACC web meeting on the 2nd Saturday each month from 9 a.m. Until noon. And as you can see, it's populated that information in there for me. And I can say at Greg's house. And it's figured that out, and it's put that, it's added that in, oops, sorry. It's added that in there. When it doesn't know, it gives you that span. And you can see right away, it's showing that it starts at 12/9/2017, which will be the next meeting at 9 a.m. and will end approximately at 12 p.m. It's in my, oh, by the way, I can specify the calendar, but I could also pick it here. So I could say, I could come up here while I'm still inside that dialog box and say, calendar, OACC. And notice it just changed the calendar there to, you can see I've got a few default calendars that I set up for Greg, for family, for after hours, for ACEs, my camera clubs I belong to. And when I canceled one, rather than just deleting it, if I've canceled an appointment, I want to leave a record of the appointment. So I created a calendar called cancel. And notice its color is black and OACC's is orange. So this is really slick that it comes up and it tells you right here that its frequency is going to be monthly, every month on the second Saturday. And repeat, end, I can specify a repeat if I want to, excuse me, an end date or after a while. This is a new feature that they added here with the last upgrade, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But anyway, when I'm ready to make this a permanent event, I either hit the return key or click the add event key, and boom, it's added into my calendar. And if I bring up the regular Apple calendar here, if you happen to hear a little ding in the background, that's because I'm sharing, nope, don't want that. So if I come over here and I go to the next month, let's go to the next month. You can see the OACC web meeting, there it is. And if I double click that, it'll bring up, now this is the actual calendar location, and it's actually put in my address or my location, it knows where I'm at. Alert when I need to leave 2 hours before alert. I have a default alert set up to give me a notice of 2 hours before or whatever. And if I go to the next month, you'll see it's in the next month, and it's in the month after that as the dates are changing, and that'll just keep going forever. So I kind of use calendar sometimes just to verify that stuff is showing up.
Greg,
So yeah, go ahead.
What happens if, let's say, 1 month you want to change just for that month to a different Saturday? Do you lose?
Well, that's a good idea. No, I'll show you how that works. It works the same way as it does in calendar. So I can come over here. I can select the second Saturday. You can see it scrolled to show that. Although I can also cancel. I can also scroll through here like this as I went, and you can see the black dot up there on that calendar is rolling around to show you which month you're actually looking at. So here I'm in December, and I can come down here and I can select the whoops, where are we at? There we go. So I can come over here and I can select this meeting, double click on it. And I'm going to change that to a specific date. So I'm going to change it to the 16th. And as soon as I hit OK, it's going to say, do you want to change them all or only this event? That makes sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does.
This is, and I find I use this more and more, but I keep forgetting. Come on.
So, Greg, question?
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
So it looks to me like rather than maintaining its own database, it works off one and the same file as calendar.
It does. It uses the calendar database. It's just a front end. Think of it that way.
Which is actually a better way to do it, I think.
It is. And the nice thing is, it is smart enough that if you're inside of mail and there's an appointment date or whatever it is, you can You can highlight that in mail. Let's see if I got mail still running up here. No, I don't. I'll start that up. So if I've got something with an appointment or something like that in here, I can actually come over here and select it, and it will populate that. So if it says a scheduled delivery date, if I wanted something like this as an example, well, this isn't a good one because it's today, but it would actually, I could actually put that up there and right mouse click. Come on. Down into services. And okay, so it's not the right kind of information for that one.
Well, there was one there that said send to Fantastical too, and you had the pop-up menu there.
Oh, did it? I didn't even see it. See it.
The topmost one. Go back to where you were there.
There it is.
The very top, yeah.
So see that populate, if it had date and time and any of that information that you could select, and you could be selecting a whole bunch of a whole chunk of text or whatever it is with the person, with the address, with the location. So if somebody said, Greg, please meet me here Saturday at 2 p.m. or whatever it is in the email, and they didn't send you over, you know, they can send you an iCal event. It's a compatible calendar event where you can double click and that populates it in there. In fact, if you look closely here, when I go back to a Sunday, you'll see there's Nozilla Cast Live. That's Allison Sheridan, who does her every Sunday. She tries to do her Nozilla. Nozilla is Allison spelled backwards. She tries to do her podcast from podfeet.com. That's her website. And so the last time I had talked to her or whatever it is, she sent me an iCal event, which is kind of universal. They work with Google. They work with a lot of them. And all I got to do is double click it and it automatically, now she's using green. Green is my color on my calendars. She's using green for her calendar as well. But it automatically populated into mine for whatever. So whenever she sends me an email, I'll double click that. It won't duplicate it, but it will replace it if there's been any changes. If he's changed her time from instead of 5 to 6, she's changed it, let's say 5:30 to 6:30, double clicking that will automatically update it from that point on. Now that would work in calendar as well, but it works with Fantastical. The best thing that Fantastical has got going for it is the fact that it parses this information. And the latest thing that they've added to it is, let's say an example, I have a lot of you know that I'm on I started a weight management program. And in 3 months, I've lost 49 pounds. So I'm pretty proud of myself there. And I only got about another year to go, but I'll get down there. I'll get down to about 200, which I think will be about normal for me. Well, you can see the actual class. Let me click back down that again. The actual class starts at 4. So I'm going to go in here and change this. And 6:30, that's pretty safe. But actually, I get it's really closer to 6. So I'm going to go ahead and change to 6. But do I want to alert? See, there's an arrow down here at the bottom, and I can pop this open. So if I pop this open, I can add notes if I want to. I can, every week it's going to be the same. Travel time, this is something new that they added. I go from my home here in Anaheim Hills to, it's at the Balmesa building, which is adjacent to St. Jude Hospital in Fullerton. And it takes me about 30 minutes. So if I click that, that's going to change my breakout. I'll show you here in a moment when I open up the full calendar. That's going to change the breakout that instead of just marking the 4 to 6 p.m., it's going to open that up to show the 30 minutes before. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit a return to all future events. And let's go look at the calendar. Fantastical has a full calendar window. We'll open that up. And so now if I come over here and I look at this, I'm going to go back to day view. So you can see it moved it from 4 p.m. to 3:30. And of course, it works the same way as it does in, if all of a sudden I change to a later class, and I could change this, move this around as I want it to be. Let's say the class was at 2, and I'm going to say only this event because I don't want to change it for all of them. This automatically updates. It would update everything if I wanted to, but I'm going to go back here at 3:30 to get it back to where it was. Whoops. And it shows that. So like if I come over here, like if I come back over to that day, guess we need to move up to a more current day. So like this upcoming Monday, Marcia I'm subscribed to her calendar, so hers shows up as red, and then she sees my green one here. And then I've got an earlier appointment here with the prosthetist, since I've been losing weight, to have to adjust my prosthesis here about every 3 weeks or so, something like that. This has a week view, just like calendar does, a month view, which is usually what I tend to leave it on. And the calendars are showing up here, but of course I can change it to a different calendar if I wanted to and make it whatever I want. But the grade calendar happens to show up on her red calendar shows up on my computer, and my grade calendar shows up on her computer. So hopefully if she's planning something for us, it doesn't interfere with each other. And then finally I can get up over here to year and see every one of those squares that you see highlighted. Something's going on that day of some sort. Then down here in the bottom of this panel, there's I can switch to the calendars. I can get access to the calendars. I can actually get in there and manage if I want to. I can see reminders if I've got reminders, any reminders set. And that's already done. Shows you how good I am. I haven't gotten around to changing the website yet. I can come on down here to preferences on this. If I haven't already bought Fantastical, I've got an option to license it once I get to license. If I come into preferences, I've got a slew of things that I can do. I can set up a default calendar. So it could either be Greg or family or after hours Mac, my side business, which is almost non-existent at the moment. My camera clubs, ACES and S4C, OACC, or anything that I've canceled. I used to have one for Broadcom, but that's no longer practical anymore. I set I can change.
Guess what, Greg?
Go ahead.
I heard that Broadcom is coming back.
I heard that. I saw that. And it's amazing. They're trying to buy Qualcomm. How does a $5 billion company buy a $12 billion company? I don't know. I haven't figured that one out.
Don't ask me, but they're trying.
Yeah. But you can customize this for what week you want to start with. I still think of Sunday, but it can be any day you want it to be. I think of the month as the first week of the month, but it could also be, again, your current view, whatever you're looking at. I start the week on Sunday. I'll show 7 days per week, but I could also show 14, and that just makes it just crams more stuff in the display when you're in the month view. I think that's visible when I come over here and do that. Yeah, you see it just crammed it, just made it snugger. I show 5 because no month ever goes more than 5. That way I've got a little bit of overlap. I've got a little bit of the beginning month and a little bit of the ending month. I can have my day. Of course, it'll record anything you want, but I can have my day start at whatever time I want to and end at whatever time I want to. 7 to 11 pretty well covers everything that I want to, but I can show more hours or less hours. I can change the date and time format. If I want, this is the shortcut for bringing that up. I turn off the interface sounds because the sounds start to bug me automatically. You can see, you can add this, you can go into system preferences and say, start up Fantastical, but they've got an option where you can click on it right here. When I come over to it here in appearance, I get my options, whether I want to see it in the menu bar or hide it in the dock and the menu bar, either way I want. So if I uncheck that, you can see that there it is right there, Fantastical 2, but I figure, what do I need to see that? Because I mean, the whole idea is getting access to it up here in the menu bar. and so if I would turn this one off, the problem would be is I can't get to it there. I'd have to either use the shortcut key, which you can customize, or I'd have to, interactively start the program up myself. So it's much easier to leave that up there. I can show all days. I can show just selected days. I can change the text size to large, extra large, or to huge. If I change it over to here to huge, you can see it's easier to read David and Lisa. It's made that a lot bigger text size. So I'll take it back to the size, obviously, that my eyeballs can handle. And so there it is back at a more reasonable size. I can change the status of the reminders. The menu icon bar can show the date. It could show the date and the month, but it's crammed in there pretty snug. It says September 18th or November 18th. It's a little hard to see that up there. I think the date's good enough because at least at a quick glance, if I don't have this displayed over here in the upper right, I can see it on the calendar over here on the left. We go to the next one for accounts. If I was using Google Calendars, I would add Google Calendars in here. I use iCal so that by using iCal as my default account holder, then whatever I do here on the Mac shows up on my iPad and also shows up on my iPhone. And by the way, Fantastical is available for iPad and iPhone as well. Over here, I can customize the calendars, and I'm using the calendars out of iCloud rather than the local calendars because I want them to be available everywhere. I can change my status of my alerts, and I can set timed events for defaults, and I want an alert 2 days before, but like when it calls to major all-day events, I have it set for a full day before rather than 2 hours. I've got a few options in here. If I like Google Maps instead of Apple Maps, I could put I can select Google Maps. I can select a time zone override. That's not too practical, but I can show a second time zone if I was dealing with somebody on the East Coast on a regular basis. I could put that in there as well. And then finally, they've got an option here for update. So I am very impressed with the way this little program works. And it has been a major time saver to just be able to come in here or do the, option command, control option space to get to it and scroll through and see, well, every one of these that I've got a dot at, and you can see they're color coded. And that's reading off of Priscilla. I don't know where I got that from way back when, but I'd have to take it out of that's pulling that information from my contacts list. So there's an appointment for Marcia with her doctor on the 6th of December. And I can either click on that and get to that spot or go to the next day. The maintenance people have you call in, and I need to change that to 4. So I should probably come back over here and change that. I don't know why I'm good to do this anywhere from 1 to 4. So let's fix that right now. Come on. Here we go. So it's pretty cool. I'm real happy with this little program, and I find that it works extremely well for that purpose. That I can just get to it without having to physically open up another application. This is just sort of peeking into what's going on. And anybody got any questions right now? Go ahead and unmute yourself if you've got some questions, and I'll do my best to answer if I can.
Greg, how much is this program, and how much mobile version?
You know what? I didn't check the mobile one. Let me go back over there real quick, and I'll tell you. The program itself for the Mac is $49. You can get a 21-day free trial by going to Flexibits, Flexibits, flexibits.com. In fact, I'll show you that website again. going to flexibits.com, you can click on free download. When you go to buy it, you have a choice of buying it direct from Flexibits, same price, or through the Mac App Store. The advantage of buying through the Mac App Store is, first off, when updates become available, if you've got that feature turned on in the App Store to automatically update, you'll get the update automatically rather than getting it. You'll get an email notification about it, but you'll get the update right away. But since right now the App Store does not support free trials or timed trials, you have to go to their website to get a download, and you can use it for 21 days. And remember, all it's being used for is a shortcut to put information into your calendar by reading what you're typing. For the iPhone, let's see. Let's click on that and see what it says. I think it's like $10, something like that. $4.99. So for the iPad and the iPhone, it's $4.99. And it works just as easy, if not better. I mean, the cool thing is, I went in to see my podiatrist on Tuesday, and so I go about.
Okay,
can you please mute yourself?
I did a template. I went on. Wasn't GoDaddy. What's it? Wix. WIX.
Oh yeah.
And then there was Josh was doing one.
Hang on.
Oh, that's nice.
So unless somebody needs to get a hold of me, or if you need to ask a question, the cool thing is, like, I don't know if I can get this to work or not, but I'll see. I'll give it a try here. Give me a moment.
I was trying to get in touch with Dean to have him let me go sit in their conference room over here. This is on my lap, and that's why I'm jumping all around. Greg, I've got you now on the big screen. How do I go back to what you're transmitting?
Hang on a second here.
Sure.
Okay, you should be back at the regular screen right now. Are you? I'm not sharing anything.
No, I've got. Oh, you're not. So then I got you. Okay, good.
Right. Well, I can't seem to get the iPhone one to work, unfortunately, with this connection, connection I'm doing. But the cool thing, I guess I can turn it around and show it to you this way. But the cool thing is, when I go into, this is what it looks like on the iPhone. Hard to see, I know. But the cool thing is, all you do is you go up here and you hit plus, and you basically do exactly the same thing. You just start typing on the keyboard what you want to, and it parses it out and places it in all the right locations. And so I'm real happy with this. I think this is a major time saver, and I think it's worth. You should at the very least, go to flexibits.com, FLEXIBITS.com, and try the trial. Try the 21-day trial. They have done a tremendous job with a huge selection of videos that explain just about everything there is, as well as a great Q&A. Okay, almost everybody's muted. Anybody got any questions that I can answer while I'm still on Flexical? Don't everybody speak at once.
I'm amazed.
Okay,
I've been trying to get our family all on one calendar. Now my wife sometimes likes to keep stuff private, but I figure that
Well, Steve,
if
she doesn't
we,
have to. She just doesn't share it. She just doesn't share it out. So I mean, on her computer or whatever it is, she creates her own calendar, and then she creates her own calendar / family, if you want to think of it that way. Okay.
okay,
And pick a color. And the same thing with you. You could have a private calendar, call it private if you want to. But then what you do this from the calendar app. You can do it from Flexical as well. Then you make it available. You publish it. It's essentially what you're doing. You're publishing that calendar. Then on her calendar, she subscribes to the calendar. So the way that works, but you only have to subscribe. So like I have the OACC one and the Greg one are the two that get shared over to Marcia. So it's real interesting. Whenever I make a change on my iPad, my iPhone, or the calendar, whether Flexical or calendar, that affects either the Greg calendar or the OACC calendar, I hear a ding coming from her computer and from her devices because it's updated them automatically. And the same thing when she does something, it updates my calendar as well. But you have to publish the calendar that you want to be able to share, and then that person has to know that it's available and be able to subscribe to it. And then you have to give them approval so not everybody can get access to it. So go ahead.
Yeah. What I was trying to think of is she wants to keep stuff private, like do what you said, but I wanted to get, like, I've always got to go downstairs. She writes it on one of those whiteboards that I have stuck on the kitchen, on the door to get to my workroom. And I don't want to have to go down there every time to see what the kids' work schedule is and stuff. So that's why I'm trying to get everybody to put their stuff in so I don't have to ask. It's all, and they know when I've got a doctor's appointment or whatever.
Yeah, so what you need to do, Steve, is you need to sit down with the rest of the family, and each of you pick a color you like. So let's say you're green and your wife is red and Mark is blue and your daughter is orange or whatever the heck it is. And that becomes, and name the calendar on their machine, name the calendar what they want that calendar. So obviously for Victoria, it'd be smart to call it Victoria. And for Mark, and for Diane, and for Steve. And then you take on your computer, Steve, you take and you export, you publish your calendar.
Okay.
And then they publish their calendars on each of their machines that they normally use. And then then you can click on subscribe, and then you go over there and you subscribe to Mark and Diane and Victoria's calendar. And now when any of them makes a change on their own calendar that's available for the family to see, because then I would keep a private one if that was the case for themselves. They got to be on the computer, whenever they do something. So if Mark says he's got an appointment from 1 to 2 at Zippity Doodah, and he puts in 1 to 2 at Zippity Doodah, boom, everybody else's computer is updated right away when they log back on. And you see them, so you know not to make conflicting time appointments over anything.
Exactly.
I think it's a brilliant concept, and it works that way with Google Calendars as well.
What happens is Mark is working, like, say, from 11 to 9 or from 1 to 10 at the store. And so I want to know what time we got to, make sure he's is our dog hears any door opening or something, he starts barking, and Diane sleeps early. So, she gets to sleep early. So, but this is what I've wanted to do with those kind of things, is to do this deal with the phone where if I update an address contact, that it goes to the family, type of thing. And so there is a way, I see. I just got to do it. It takes me a little more time now because with the little slight dementia thing, I forget and stuff. That's why I rely on Mark quite a bit. So anyway, I'll shut up now.
Okay, so let's go ahead and go over to the second part here, which is a new one that they brought out. The same company, Flexibits, brought out a new one called Cardhop, which is really slick. This one really amazes the living daylights out of me. Let me get out a quick time here since that's not doing anything I was hoping for it to do. And let's go back to where we were. So let's go take a look at Cardhop. And give me a moment. I'm going to stop the share real quick and fix something. Okay, good. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play their video here, as short as it is, just to give you some updates, and you can see, get an idea of what it does. Okay, that's Cardhop. So let me give you a little example of what all this can do. So you can see it's an icon. Are you still on, Steve? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Greg.
Okay, all right.
It,
Just want to make
that was
sure.
just a little loud. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I figure by the time I figure this all out, I'll be dead. Okay, so it adds a little icon up here at the top. Again, same idea. You can see it's a Control Option D to get the shortcut, like so, or you can click on it right here, get it that way, and you can adjust the size. You know, you can make it bigger or smaller, whichever works out for you. I keep it at a comfortable size, about like so. Or it can also be here in the menu. I don't normally keep it in there because I don't want to see that it's there and running. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up and just go over the interface real quick here on it. So I'm only seeing right now recents, but I can come on down here and click on all contacts and show all contacts. And now I can see all 2,300 contacts that I have, 2,400. I can go directly to the P's or the U's, just like you could inside the address book if you wanted to, or the contact list. I can get access to see, I can hide the groups, I can show the groups, which is kind of nice. So like I've got my GAG group, my Camera Clubs group. I still got Broadcom in this one. I haven't bothered to take it out yet. The OACC mailing list, that only brings up people whose email I've got. But here's the best thing about it. Let's say I leave it up here and I want to see Steve speak, or I want to see Robert Amita. Robert's not on, so we'll go after him. And right away, it starts picking up the Roberts. There we are. And you can see over there, it's popped open the card, and it shows me the information about Robert right there. Now, it shows his, because I already had it in there, it shows his iPhone, his work fax, his work email, his home email, his home address. I don't even know if that's current anymore because I think he moved. His Twitter account, all the information that I've gone, and you can see if I want to add a note, hey, Robert wasn't at this morning's meeting.
Well, Greg, I only use phone number for Robert is his mobile.
Yeah. Well, again,
Yeah, so,
I can edit everything, whatever I want. I can take it all out there if I want to. Now, here's a cool thing. While you've got this contact list up here, let's say as an example, you'd like to. Steve is asking for a copy of Robert's information, so you'd like to export that as a V card. Well, look at this. You can drag it here to the desktop. There's a V card, and I can just email that right to Steve, and he's got the same information I have here. That's a nice little shortcut.
Yeah, I've been doing that a lot with people. Somebody said, you know, who is this? And I said, it's Steve. You know, she questioned. She said, "Is it Steve?" I says, "Yeah." And then I make an export the contact B card and paste it in and send it to her. It works really hot. I like it.
Well, here's another cool feature. Because it popped this up right here, guess what? If I wanted to send Robert a text message, I can click on message. I can choose I
Right.
want to send it to his iPhone, and it'll take me right into messages. Hopefully, there we go. And I'm right in the mode to start the typing. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Out of focus.
Oh, I don't know how to adjust that.
He's clear. Everybody's clear on mine.
Huh. I don't know how I would do anything about that one. Here we go. So let me show you what I think is the most useful feature that it's got going for it. I'm going to go into the mail application, and I wanted to find some that I could dig up, so I went through trash and I pulled a few of them out. Here's a good example. So here's SodaStream. I've got one of these, but I don't have their address. So I can always scroll down here to the bottom and look for it if I want to. You know what? I'm going to pick a different one. So I flagged some of these. Like there's a good one. Here's Discus. So I'd like to go ahead and add their information. Well, you can see right down here. Here they are. Here's Discus. Here's the information right here. And I can select that line of text and do a right mouse. Come on. Fingers are slippery here today.
Greg just washed his hands and he can't do a thing with them.
And I'm going to send that to I'm going to send that information to Cardhop. And it's just populated all the information that was there that I selected. That's it. It's now inside my address book. Done.
That's cool. That is cool.
And all I got to do is either hit add contact or hit a return. And I can still come down here and customize it and add if I have the phone number, I can, because they didn't happen to have it in that spot. So that's kind of a cool. So if I come on down here to, let's say, RV report, and I'll scroll down to the bottom because almost everybody will put their address or they'll have it somewhere else. Here we are. Come on down here to services, send to Cardhop. And it was smart enough to figure out that that's a company and put in all that information. And now I can just add contact, and it's in there. Now let's go back and look that up. If I put the word map in there, it'll actually show me where it'll actually do its best to find that. And I put that wrong. So let me come back over here and try that again. Oops. This reads verb first, so I'm going to say map Robert, and then hit a return. Oh, come on. I didn't want to do that. I wanted directions. Oh, there we are. There it is. There's Robert's address, that red pin that you see down there in the bottom, and I'm the blue dot up here at the top. And I'm using Maps as my default mapping utility, so I can call up anybody's contact and
Hey, Greg. Hey, Greg.
Because it's reading.
You
Yeah,
want a
sorry.
real
Go ahead. Go
You
ahead.
want
I'm
a real
listening.
challenge? If you want a real challenge, put in my address here in Maryland and let it find it on the map. That's the old address.
Oh, I don't have your new address listed. That's why. But it found it.
It's found it anyway.
Yep.
Found the old address anyway.
Well, I've got to be smart enough to give it the new one.
That's one of the things that frustrates me, Greg, is
What's that?
people, they don't keep up their emails, they don't keep up their phone numbers. And then what happens is, you know, you get them lost, and it's like, how hard is it for them to send you their V card again? You know, if they've changed something, if they've moved, if they've added a phone. My brother-in-law and his kids are adults, and they've moved, they've changed this, but they don't update me with a V card, and so they're going to be over for Thanksgiving, and I was going to suggest to them that that people be a little more diligent in that, so that we can always stay together.
Look at that. I typed in call Steve Spiegel, and it went ahead and went to Steve Spiegel's contact, pulled up his phone number. And since I'm on a Mac, what it'll do is I've got it set for FaceTime, but I can change that and have it use my iPhone. I just don't happen to have it set up since I upgraded the operating system, and have it use my iPhone to connect automatically. And so I'd be talking to the Mac, but it's using the iPhone to make the communication with.
Okay, I just typed in my new address in the group chat, so I think everyone should have received a short note from me with my new address. And you could copy and paste it if you're interested in saving it.
So this is kind of cool. Let's say as an example, I'm going to put my brother down here. And I'd like to have my brother David added to the OACC mailing list. I put a # in there and put OACC, and there it is. If I want, if he had a Skype, I can type in Skype, and it adds him into Skype. If he's already got a Twitter account, I don't know if it's got Facebook in here or not. Yeah, it does. So you can add this stuff interactively and get right to it, which is really a cool feature, I think. And then all I got to do is over here either hit return to update it, or click with the mouse on it. If I just want to, I think this works this way. Yeah. So if I want to look inside my group KMBS for Heather Pavlik, who's the current, I haven't even updated, she's the current branch manager, the information pops up on the screen there, and I specifically told it to search. I could have done the whole contacts list, but I probably would have had extra Heathers besides the ones that are working for Konica Minolta. In fact, if I scroll through those, they're all in the KMBS group, but they're at different locations. So I find this, I always found, you know, especially if I wanted to go into contacts and add a comment, like as an example, I'll go back to my brother. And so if I wanted to be able to put a note in here, David is in Mexico. if I could spell. At the Baja.
Hey, Bart.
And so that's a really cool way of putting in a field, a note anytime you want to, is to do the shortcut, which is the Control Option D to get this up, or go up to the menu bar if that's where you've got it in, or if you're using it in the dock, and get in there and update them and change it right on the fly, just like it is. And this is kind of cool. If I come on down here and I click on Brother, really, it doesn't have that. Oh, name. Oh, I see. Okay. Oh, it's my connection. Okay. If I click on spouse here, it looks to see if there's a card for Lisa, and that's old. She used to work there. That's the more current one. There we go. Any questions?
I guess this one was work similar to the other one in that it uses the same database.
Same, it does. It uses the address book, or contact list, whatever Apple's calling it this week, database. And again, it's just a front end to it. Everything's still available for it. So I can put in something as simple as, oh, let's try that again. It's because we got because the connection's always CCIC.
Uh-oh.
So I've only had a chance to play with this for like the last couple of weeks or so, but it's a slick little program and it's $15. They don't have anything like this available for an iPad or an iPhone, but apparently they're working on it. So that'll be slick when they bring that up. Anybody got any questions?
And Greg, you know, there's one thing you mentioned, $16.
15.
I remember.
And again, same thing. Same thing. You can go to their website, download a 21-day trial, and then if you decide to buy it, you can buy it from them. But if you buy it through the App Store, you can put it on everybody's Macintosh. So that's pretty cool from that standpoint. Go ahead, Steve. Sorry.
Okay. You said it was 16 or 60?
15. 15 is what
15.
I meant to say.
Okay.
$15.
Because, you know, when we think about apps, we always think, well, we want it cheaper. I mean, if you think, are we keeping you up, Greg?
Yeah, sorry. I only slept a couple hours last night, really bad.
I went to bed. I was watching, what was this thing about the universe last night? I just happened to flip it on, and I got hooked by these, what do you call it, physicists. And it was a very, very good presentation. But anyway, back in the days when the Mac first started and the Apple II, God, the cost of these things, you'd pay $50 or more a piece. And now, I mean, not everything is cheap, but things that are utilities and stuff like that, it's very easy and cheap to do. So.
Yeah, well, my feeling is I look at it from the standpoint of time saving. I mean,